Tony Crocamo. Love, eventually. Love, eventually. Tony Crocamo.
Do you believe in love at first sight? Or would you consider someone who made a snap decision about whom to marry based on love at first sight? Would you consider that person to be a fool? A fool like me? Because, Mr. Contest here, fellow Toastmaster, yes, no one has ever been more helplessly, or happily smitten by love at first sight than was I from the first time I saw Christine. It's true. If you had been with me the night I fell in love, in October 1967, you would have seen me as a skinny 18-year-old, and it was a long time ago, a skinny 18-year-old entering a popular college nightclub in White Plains, New York, called Before and After. Now, I don't know how a college bar in White Plains got a lawful thing, but it was a very popular club. You ever been to a club that was too crowded, too smoky, too noisy?
Yes.
That's Before and After. I had just arrived and was headed toward the bar, and there she was, standing by the dance floor. Long red hair, beautiful smile, her glasses perched on top of her head. I stood transfixed, unable to move until I heard a clear, distinct voice in my head say, "That's the girl you're going to marry." I don't usually listen to the voices in my head. That's good advice for us all. But that night I said, if I'm going to marry her, I guess I should ask her to dance. I began to thread my way through the crowd toward her, thinking this was madness, not because I was hearing voices around here, but because I was about to ask this beautiful woman to dance with me. She was way out of my league, and I fully expected, based on a long, sad personal history, I fully expected to be shot down again. Hi, my name's Tony. Would you like to dance? Nice to meet you, Tony. I'm Chris. Oh, by the way, at the time, my voice actually was higher than hers. Nice to meet you, Tony. I'm Chris, and I'd love to do this. Wow, a miracle. She said yes. I took her hand for the very first time, and we walked a few steps to the dance floor where we had to squeeze in. You ever been on a dance floor that was so crowded you had to squeeze in and fight to maintain? You've been to the foreign country. I thought that. We just squeezed onto the dance floor. Somebody bumped into Chris, knocked the glasses off her head. They tumbled to the floor. We looked at them. Couldn't see the floor. There were twice as many legs as there were people on the dance floor. Then I saw something shiny. I went down, grabbed the glasses, surfaced quickly, handed them to Chris. Another miracle. The glasses were unscathed. We both laughed and decided to quit the dance floor and find a table where we could talk. And oh, did we talk. We talked for hours. She was so easy to talk to. We could talk about anything, our hopes, our dreams. She made me feel as if I'm not. Don't hit the microphone. Especially a very tender point in the story. She made me feel as if I mattered. And I liked the way that felt. Everything was going great. Chris was telling me a story about her summers out in a nursing home and her father, who was a doctor. And she said offhandedly, casually, in passing, that she could see herself marrying a doctor someday because it was such a worthy profession. I didn't much like that. Obviously, she had not heard the voice in my head. Well, I took that opportunity to bring her up to speed on our future together. Whoa, Chris, wait a minute. You are not going to marry a doctor. Well, Tony, how could you possibly know that? I know you're not going to marry a doctor because I have no intention of going to medical school. only just met tonight. So what? Don't you believe in love at first sight? I'm sorry, Tony. You seem like a nice guy. You really do, but I'm afraid you're just too immature. But Chris! Well, she may have been right. Okay, she was right. I wasn't mature. But in my defense, that is one of my qualities. So much for love at first sight. 4 months later, I'm at Fort Polk, Louisiana. I'm in the Army, preparing to go to Vietnam, and I decided I wanted to reconnect with Chris and write her a letter. But I didn't have a full address. I only had her name and the name of her small hometown in New Jersey. Another miracle, she got the letter. Bigger miracle, she wrote back. Soon we were writing every day. And then I began to call her a couple times a week from Fort Polk, Louisiana, to her college dorm, Lady Cliff College in Highland Falls, New York. And these long and expensive phone calls ended the same way every time. I love you, Chris. You love me yet? Not yet. I was making progress. She didn't say no, and the question no longer upset her. So from my perspective, the day before I left for Vietnam, I went to visit Chris at her college, and as I was leaving, she handed me a book of 19th century poetry called Because I Love You. She said, Fitz, a woman at the nursing home, gave me this book last summer and told me to hold on to it until I met the man I love. It belongs to you. Wow. Was she saying? She was. She loved me. All right. I was the victim of love at first sight. Chris was the victim of love eventually. Each can be genuine, each can be real, but neither is enough. To survive, love has to grow, and that takes work. Chris and I have been working on it for quite some time now. I used to say that we had a love that would last a lifetime. I now know we have something even more precious. We have a love that will last 2 lifetimes. Talk about your miracles. We recently celebrated our 37th wedding anniversary, and I still haven't been to Memphis.